What you're seeing here is the graduates of the Sheriff's Blazer Academy number 3. I'm going to give you just a brief rundown of how we came up with the Blazer Academy and then kind of give you an idea of what we've learned. But first I want to tell you how much we appreciate you trusting your children with us for 6 weeks. We learned a lot, we talked a lot, shed a few tears. We were not easy on them, but we were not harsh on them. What we did is we gave them our time. And we thank you so much for allowing us to do that because we're very proud of the program. I'm going to first introduce some of the people that are with me. I'm Chip Simmons. I'm the Sheriff of Escambia County. Over here to the left, and he'll be our name caller, is Delarian Wiggins. He works in our community services, but he's also the president of the City Council for the City of Pensacola. And we have Ronnie Rivera. He is our neighborhood specialist. And we have 2 chief deputies. We have Chief Deputy over Operations, Tommy Leiter, and Chief Deputy over Administration, Andy Hobbs. And we have a number of other people over here. We have Morgan, we have Stacy, and we have some other people that drove the bus over here. So we thank you so much for allowing us the opportunity with your children. I used to coach a lot of football. There's some people out here that are aware of that. And I used to coach a lot of football. And when I coached the football, at the end of practice, I'd have them all take a knee in front of me. And we'd talk about what we went over in the class or in the football practice. A lot of times we talk about football, but about half the time we talk about life. Half of the time we talk about what they were going to do that night, what are they going to do next week, how are they doing in school, and I had the undivided attention. And so I thought, you know what, if we could mimic that, if we could have a mentoring program like that, where I can have that one-on-one contact and that mentorship, that opportunity, and then go take that a step further, provide them with a jacket, a blazer, and everything else, and that's what we decided to do. And that's the start of the Blazer Academy. We're getting better every single class. I will tell you that the class is centered around leadership, centered around what they can do. A lot of them didn't like interactions, so we taught them to be interactive. We taught them to talk to people, to be proud of themselves, to talk about themselves, talk about who they're proud of, talk about how they got to where they're at now, who they owe, and what they're going to do with their lives, what their position, what their place is in their families, but also in society. And really, we taught them how to be gentlemen. We taught them how to interact. We taught them how to shake hands. We taught them how to tie a tie. Some of the topics included, I wrote down because there's a lot of them. Courtesy. You think it's pretty simple, but it's really not. It's courtesy not just to the individual that's giving the class, but also courtesy to each other. And then we told them to go home and be courteous to the parents and the people that brought them here. Courtesy is so important to us that it's the number one thing that we talk about. Our core value starts with courtesy. And so we want to push that down because what are we as a community if we can't be courteous to our neighbors? Responsibility. We spend a lot of time talking about responsibility. Personal responsibility, family responsibility, community responsibility. And we ask them questions, what they think about it, what that means to them. And that's harder than you think it is. We talked about the power of moments. The power of moments to make a good decision, to make a bad decision. Every moment counts. And sometimes you'll come to a crossroad, you'll take that good decision or that good road instead of that bad road. And we talk for a lot about the power of moments and what are important moments to them. We talked about goals. It's all about goals. Who do you want to be? Who are your heroes? We talked about that because it's important. We wanted to know, who do you look up to? And then we worked on how they can become a person like that. These are important things to us, and we felt like that would be important things to them. We talked about etiquette. We're fixing to walk over to a nice restaurant. We talked a little bit about etiquette. We want them to know how to sit in a chair, what fork to use, when to start eating, because eventually they're going to be out in society. They're going to need to know information on how to date, how to hold a door, how to do the little things, how to hold a communication with a parent, how to interview for a job. We gave them little pointers on how to talk about themselves. Stuff that when we grew up, we didn't have. Stuff that I wish I'd known. Stuff that my grandparents told me. Something that my grandfather told me before he passed away. And then we had all these things in our mind. We collectively got together and said, what piece of information do you wish you knew? And we're not saying you guys aren't providing it. We're sure you are. But we wanted to make sure that the information and stuff that we have is relayed to them, because they're that important. We talked about giving back. We talked about, in fact, it's not just about you. It's about what your position in this community is. And again, who can you help? Because a lot of people in here are affected by peer pressure. And a lot of people here provide that peer pressure. And we wanted to talk about that. Again, we worked on handshakes. We talked about tying ties. We talked about respect. We talked about all of these things, and our hope was that they would go back and they would think about just one of these things or two of these things or all of them. These things are very important. It didn't all go as expected. At one point, we were eating dinner, and I got up. I said, you know what? I'm going to see what they'll say. They're eating dinner, and I got up. I said, okay, what do you do? Stop what you're doing. What do you do if your neighbor starts choking? And they told me, we'll give them the Hindenburg maneuver, which is sad. But we finally got to be the Heimlich maneuver. We didn't certify him the Heimlich maneuver, but what we wanted to teach him was don't panic. You have time. Be direct. In football, I used to teach them smooth as fast. So have a plan and move forward with that plan. We talked about the dangers of fentanyl. Every class that we gone to, I started by saying fentanyl will kill you. I hope that this doesn't offend anyone. We talked a little bit about drugs, but it's very important. I see it every day. Hundreds of people in our community are dying overdosing on fentanyl. So I got up before the class, and I said, fentanyl will kill you. The next class, I said, fentanyl will kill you. And before I went to that third class to talk about it, I got a phone call in my own home. One Saturday morning, my brother-in-law was found laying on the kitchen floor. His funeral is this Saturday. Fentanyl. And I can't tell people enough how dangerous these drugs are. I don't want that to happen to anyone here, you, our students, or anything. But it affects every family. Like I said, Saturday, 11 o'clock, I'll be having a funeral for my brother-in-law of 37 years because of fentanyl. And this is the last lesson. I've told you how many times fentanyl will kill you. I'll tell you one more thing we did. We spent some time with personal stories. Because, you know, the unique part about the Blazer Academy is that we have unique perspective on things. Yes, we've all grown up. Most of us here locally, we've all grown up. We've all made mistakes. We shared some of those. So for our dinner conversation one time, we all took turns. Ronnie went, and then Delarian went, and then Tommy went, and then Andy went, and then I went. And we found out that what a lot of our kids are going through, we went through. There was police officers that were raised by a single parent. There were police officers that got in trouble with the law. There were police officers that got in trouble and spent some time in a hospital, in the back of an ambulance. I myself told them that before I was out of my teens, I spent time in the back of a cruiser car and in an ambulance. We shared with them that one mistake or two mistakes or three mistakes will not define you. There are things you can overcome. Overcoming obstacles was very important to us, and it's very important to them. These are the main instructors for everything that we did. We had 2 guest speakers, 3 guest speakers actually. We had one guest speaker from Central Credit Union. They're here now. I'll put them out. There you go. Stand in the back of there. To talk a little bit about financial security, talk a little bit about checking and savings and all that kind of stuff. And again, we understand you're telling them that. But sometimes there's value in having a group and having someone come up here and talk to you from that banking institution, because not everyone has that. We had Hassan Hills. Where's Hassan? Hassan Hills is in the back here. We talk about, Hassan helps us out now. I don't know if you know Hassan's story, but I'm going to briefly, I told my guys I'll be brief, but there's a microphone and I can't be brief. So let me just tell you, because it's important, we're always teaching and we're always working on some things. Hassan and I met 30 years ago, 25, 30 years ago. And he doesn't mind me telling the story. We usually tag team this story because I was a young narcotics officer. And we had names of people that we were looking for, drug dealers, people that we felt like were ruining our community. And one name on our whiteboard was Hassan Hills. I was part of a drug task force. We ended up ultimately arresting Hassan Hills. Hassan Hills. So I get a phone call about a year ago, maybe a year or so ago, and I get a message to call Hassan Hills. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a joke because I know where Hassan Hills is. Hassan Hills is doing life in prison for selling drugs in Escambia County. Hassan Hills and his wife are doing life in prison for selling drugs in Escambia County. But I kept staring at the note. And I'm like, I know how many Hassan Hills can there be? And I found out there's only one. So I talked to Hassan, and we agreed to meet. And to his credit, Hassan has taken full responsibility. He says, let me tell you something. I was doing life in prison, and I was fortunate to be not pardoned, but early released by not one but two different presidents. And he vowed to come back in the community that he destroyed, or he started to destroy, and help out. So Hassan and I do our little story about how we met and where we are now, and how outrageous it is that investigator Chip Simmons is now sharing a stage with drug dealer Hassan Hills. But let me tell you something. I don't let people come up here and grab a microphone. I don't let people in our agency. I don't let people talk to our children lightly. I believe in Hassan Hills. We donate money to his program. He has a heart for these kids. So Hassan Hills was one of our guest speakers. Another guest speaker, again, was Central Credit Union, talking about that. The third guest speaker was a gentleman by the name of Chad Madsen. Chad Madsen went to work, had a couple drinks after work, had too many drinks after work, veered off the road, ended up killing an individual on a bicycle. So for the last 12 years, Chad Madsen was in prison. And he got up here and he put a microphone in his hand, and he talked to these kids about the power of that one moment. Not in a good way, but the power of that one moment. And so what we did, we told these kids about cautionary tales. We told these kids about you're not alone. We told these kids that their parents care about them. We told these kids about the power of the moment. We told these kids about how to get from good to great. Don't settle for good when you can be great. And don't let anyone else decide what your life is going to be. That's the main thing. So I'll tell you this. We had a good time. We talked a lot. We ate a lot. We cared. We ate together. And we shared a lot of stories. We really did. Some of the kids would get up there and they stand on the podium and they talk about what's important to them. Sometimes it was their family. Sometimes it was their goals. Sometimes it was about gaining weight. But we enjoyed the power of those moments. So thank you all for being with us. What we're going to do now is we're going to call out them by their names. We're going to give them their certificate, and then we're going to line up for a picture, and then we're going to march single file line because they look like $1 million. Let's give them a hand right now. What you're not seeing is they're trying not to smile, but they're grinning from ear to ear because when the first time I saw them, I was grinning from ear to ear too. You should be proud of them.
kill people with kindness.
My strength is athletics. I'm really good at almost any type of sport. I'm good at football, I'm good at basketball, even though I can't make threes.
As you can tell, some of them did not want for confidence. The two that we had, one's strength was they were too nice, and the other, they were too good at sports. You know, that's why. So we just cut those off. A couple little housekeeping things. In each of these certificates, there will be a blue envelope, and this is courtesy of Central Credit Union again, and it's a match, up to $50 match. If you will want to open an account at Central Credit Union for not just the student, but also for the parent. So it's a very nice gesture on behalf of the Central Credit Union has become a great partner. They donated money, they donated their time, and they're very much a sponsor for the Blazer Academy. We're very proud of them. So we're going to give them this envelope, and we're going to instruct them now, but when they get the envelope, stick it in their left pocket. There should be a pocket in your thing, so it's don't interfere with the picture, just like this. I've taken Xavier's. I'll put it back over there. All right, and then like I said, we're going to take a picture, and then we're going to walk over to Global Grill. You probably want to know how long it's going to be. We don't have room over in Global Grill for everyone. I wish we did. We certainly have room for all of them, and we'll be probably an hour and 20 minutes, hour and 30 minutes, and then we'll take everyone back to the sheriff's office, or if the parent can come directly to us, point out their child, we will let them leave from the restaurant itself. But in the past, we've had parents gather around the outside, peering in, like they're looking for a dog, but I'm just giving you an idea where we're going to be. Everyone knows where Global Grow is. You're welcome to eat. You just have to try to find a seat somewhere else. That would be great. All right, and with that, we're going to go ahead and get started, correct? I'm going to turn this microphone, thankfully, over to Delarian.
Thank you all so much. All right. First up is Giovanni Berry. Jacob Davis. Kenneth Gooden. Kenneth. Jaden Goodson. Hayden Gordon. Jeffrey Johnson. Xavier Johnson. Christian Lavender. Marique Thomas. Tyler Myers. Demario Mims. Gabriel Moore. Braden Neubauer. Kamari Simmons. Thomas Touchstone. Jaden Wade. Jamarius Williams.